Hello and welcome to a new video of me just yapping about Darkest Dungeon stuff again. And today I wanted to talk about like team building. It's one of the main things about Darkest Dungeon that I see a lot of people struggling with, because building teams is not like something you can just be like, yeah, I get this and just always works for me. Like this is not really something you can do because sometimes heroes are missing. Sometimes you just don't have those heroes. Sometimes your heroes aren't leveled, that kind of stuff. So you have to be a bit flexible to like be good at team building. And I just kind of want to like go through like what I think or like how I do my teams and how I find like the team I want to run for the week. Now, the first thing I always do is to just pick a hero that I want to bring. Very often that just like entirely depends on the situation. If I need to level someone specifically, like if I know, okay, the next team I level is gonna go into champion, I really want to have a Mad Arms for Wolf. I really want to have like a Shield Breaker leveled for like specifically doing Baron or something, or like for doing champion, courtyard stuff, all that stuff. It just kind of like depends whichever hero you want. Even if you just see someone, you're like, yeah, I feel like playing this hero. That's entirely reasonable. That's an entirely like fair reason to have to like bring a hero and to like start building a team. And I'm just gonna pick someone here. Let's say, for example, Flagellant. I just want to play Flagellant because I feel like playing him today. And with Flagellant, of course, you have to like first know, okay, what does a hero do that you already have on the team. With Flagellant, of course, you have like pretty good damage, and you have Reclaim, you have Redeem, so you have to have like a bit of healing, you have a bit of stressing within you as well, but it's mainly about like you have decent enough damage, and a lot of like healing. Is Flagellant enough to like solo heal? Probably not. You really don't have like someone next to him because Reclaim is a bit unreliable in that sense because you can't get someone off the store sometimes. So if you just get to, like 100 to 0'd, then Reclaim doesn't do anything. And Flagellant healing himself is also kind of rough because he can't really heal himself outside of like Redeem, which can be a bit like clunky. You have to like rely on food healing a lot if you just bring Flagellant solo healer. So I want to pick someone who fits well with Flagellant. I just want someone who can heal, probably to like make up for like his healing being a bit worse, I guess, on himself. So I'm just gonna look and I'm gonna like pick someone who like fits well. The obvious choice here is of course PD. This doesn't have to be PD, obviously. Like these two fit very well together in general because PD's strength is of course having really good backline damage and blinding gas, and blinding gas with Rainosaurus has really good synergy because those backline stuns essentially help Flagellant double his damage before the enemy can actually act. Right, so Reign of Sorrows and Blinding Gas have really good synergy. Of course, Plague Grenade helps with that as well, because you can just cleave down the backline on like turn 2 and they just like fall over. Which also helps that they are both very fast, both have 9 base speed, so you can go very fast with them and just like kind of kill things before they can kill you, right? And you barely take like any backline damage, so really good synergy there. Reclaim and Battlefield Medicine together as well, really good. It isn't like the best healing on Flagellant because it's only 3 points sometimes, but removing that bleed from Reclaim if it does stick is actually very useful for Battlefield Medicine. And then just great prot matchup, very good damage obviously between Noxious Blast and Punish into like any frontline that has prot. Ghoul just gets melted by these, but yeah. So with these two, you already have like most of your bases covered already. You already have healing, you already have like a good bit of backline stunning, you have like a good bit of damage as well. So what you really want from this is like the last 2 slots just kind of like depend on like what you want to bring, right? What I would pick here is burst damage, because both of these heroes you can kind of notice, they can't like really just snap their fingers and just pop something for like big numbers, right? They can't just like deal big burst damage. And for that, you really want someone who can just deal that big burst of damage. And for example, you can just pick someone like Highwayman for that. Highwayman just is perfectly fine, ignore the syphilis, but he's perfectly fine for this. You can even run him in Ranger Highwayman, which is entirely reasonable, like pistol shot, point blank. I guess it should be grape shot, but I don't have it unlocked here. But you can just run like a Ranger Highwayman. Gives you burst damage, which is useful. It gives you like a bit more bleed synergy with Flagellant. The minus speed, very useful to apply bleeds and blights before the enemy can act. Very useful. You could obviously just go do a advance as well. This team can handle it. You can go like this, but you don't really care about like the backline damage that much. But pistol shot is very useful, and most of the time like he's just like doing damage as well. So you have like one hero that wants to stun turn 1, you have like damage from Flagellant a bit, and you have like burst damage from Highwayman, and then the last slot really wants to be someone who can stun the front line. Because right now, if you are noticing, this team isn't exactly like very survivable up front, because Flagellant, while he does have good survivability, that very relatively low HP for his is kind of bad, and he doesn't have like the highest dodge either, so you kind of want to have like someone defensive with him. or have like a good game plan against like frontliners, because right now the strategy is just that like frontliners just get to hit you in the face, right? Because he's not really like doing anything against frontliners. He's not exactly great into prot. Like obviously he has to open vein, which is pretty good, but he's not really like killing the front line. Point blank isn't reliable. So you really want to have someone that can like control the front line. Damage in the front line isn't really an issue, like in the later parts of the fight, because you have punish, then you have open vein, then you have like noxious blast. But all of these attacks, all of these three heroes, really want to like prefer hitting the backline first, because that's where like the important targets are, right? So you want someone who can like control the front line and maybe just like offer like some extra utility, maybe some extra damage, just someone who can deal with stuff up front. And for that you can pick someone like, let's say, A-Bomb. A-Bomb's actually kind of good for this team. You don't really care that he doesn't offer like too much else in human form. Like, you really just want to have that frontline stun, and Manacles is perfectly fine. You could obviously pick the Cultist as well, but you don't really care about his healing. The utility really isn't all there. You don't have Mark Synergy. Weakening Curse is obviously still great, but you can already deal with Prot kind of, so you really don't care about this too much. So obviously like a Cultist is still amazing, but his lower like defenses can be a bit painful. So I really like A-Bomb here, just because he has like really good defenses, 46 HP, 28 dodge. Obviously you have Transform as like a panic button. Absolution is just great defenses by himself. He himself has really good defenses, high blight resist, decently high bleed resist. And Manacle is just a good enough stun. If you give him like Broken Kin stuff, then he just gets that frontline stun, which is very valuable. He's also very fast, just extremely good synergy. Beast Spile as well helps you get through prot in the mid-range even faster. It's synergized as well with PD because she already like applies those blights, and obviously synergized as well with Flagellant and even Highwayman, just because you can stun targets and like have them take like an extra point of bleed from Open Vein, from Punish, and just let like Open Vein get that minus speed bonus to like get more value from that. So this team just works very well. Transforming isn't really on the table. You can't like heal stress that easily, especially on PD. Like, Highwayman will most likely be fine. At worst, you have like Gallows Humor at camp and you'll be completely fine. Flagellant will obviously be fine. You have Lash of Solace and you can even use Endure sometimes, but Endure is a bit hard to fit onto this team because you lose Rain of Sorrows, which is like, you don't really want to lose Rain. This team can help it obviously because you do have that Highwayman to help, but having Endure is a bit of a limiting factor. But yeah, these four very well, just a good team. Just because like they fit very well together. You have like good frontline stun, you have a good backline stun, obviously. You don't really want backline stuns always, you just want like fast burst damage very often, because backline stuns is like PD, Bounty Hunter. It's like you pick one of those, and otherwise you don't get like a rank 4 stun, which is kind of rough. But A-Bomb just fits very well with like the frontline stuns. Very good synergy with like all the bleed and blight going on. With synergies very well with like A-Bomb stun. You have good burst damage from Highwayman if you need that. Just very, very strong team. And it has like no issue with prot. This is just a very, very well-rounded team. Good recovery as well. The main like issue of this, I guess, is stress healing. You don't really have that much of it. A-Bomb obviously has his own, covers his own stress. He can cover his own stress with Lattice Solace. Highwayman can be a bit rough without camp because you have to rely on Gallows Humor, but at minus 25, which can obviously backfire if you get very unlucky. And PD obviously is very fragile in terms of stress if she does get like targeted by it, because like your best stress heal on her is like self-medicate or like obviously endure stuff, but still very, very well run a team. It works pretty much everywhere except the ruins maybe, because Flagellant is a large part of your damage with Rain of Sorrows. But yeah. Now for another example, because maybe like that wasn't just enough, but that's about how I do my team building. I'm gonna pick someone else. Let's say I want to build around Grave Robber. Let's say Grave Robber. She's always fun to build around. Obviously with Grave Robber you want someone to reset her lunge, so she can use lunge. Someone moves in front of her, give the lunge again, which is just very, very valuable, because lunge is very, very strong, and that's like the main thing you want to build around with her very often. So you have that very fast rank 3 burst damage, or even like just any frontliner just kind of dies to lunge. And you just want to build around that. She obviously doesn't bring that much utility, so you really want to bring like utility alongside it. You need healing still, and very often the best dance partner for it just ends up being Crusader, because Crusader just does so well with it. It's absurd how good he is next to Grave Robber, because he fills her holes so well, it's ridiculous. Like, you get that bit of utility, you get Inspiring Cry for healing and stress healing, you get Battle Heal even, you can run something like this for like good recovery, Inspiring Cry, and obviously you get that Holy Lance, which has really good synergy with Lunge, not only because Highwayman or like Crusader is so slow with his 3 base speed, which basically guarantees that Grave Robber outspeeds him. It's also the fact that the Grave Robber can at max burst rank 3, So you have that rank 4 burst damage from Holy Land, so you can go like Grave Robber, launch forward, kill rank 3, and then you can like Holy Lance with Crusader to kill rank 4, which is very, very good. And it's almost guaranteed that you get this shuffle because Crusader is so slow. And then next turn you can just follow up with Lunge again. You can just kind of like start doing whatever you want with Crusader. You might even like move forward. You can just kind of sit in rank 3 very often because you just deal so much damage already. And you don't really need that Holy Lance very often. Because Grave Robber can just like not Lunge either. And just like kind of like play in the back. Just use Poison Darts. Just very, very strong. So these two are probably just on the team. And they're obviously in these positions because you really don't have to Lunge into Holy Lance. And that's like kind of the setup here. Next to this, you have good damage. Your damage is already covered. You have like decent off healing. Is he enough to solo heal? Probably not. So you want someone who can heal, and you want utility. You want stuns, especially. Because this team right now doesn't stun. There's like 0 stuns here. And having a team with 0 stuns is always a bad idea. Especially with Crusader on it, because he is so slow, so you really don't get any value out of him until like the end of turn 1. And that just kind of means that 4 enemies most likely slap you in the face unless you manage to surprise them. Which, obviously, doing that reliably is a bit of a difficult ask. So you will not have like a fast stun next to him, especially when I can stun rank 4, which is why picking PD for this team is very, very easy. These 3 together are a very common like team I tend to run, because PD just fills the holes of these 2 very, very well. Blinding Gas, really, really good synergy into the backline. It helps Crusader a lot, because it essentially makes his rank 4 killing not have like that downside of him being so slow, because you just kind of stun rank 4 turn 1, right? Because PD, you wouldn't have to like run speed on her, you just Blinding Gas rank 4, and then you just go Holy Lance into it. And you don't have to like worry about his low speed and the enemy slapping in the face, because they are stunned with PD's base speed, which is, or like even like her just general speed, which is really good. So that's extremely useful, and these 2 have like pretty good healing synergy as well. Like you have Battlefield Medicine plus Battle Heal, which very often is enough to heal out your entire team, just because of like how much you stun enemies and how quickly you can kill stuff with these 2 together. Now the last slot, it's kind of the same as like last team. You really don't have someone who can stun the front line, because right now, again, you are stunning the backline, you are taking out the backline very well, you are killing the front line decently well as well, thanks to Pick to the Face and just PD Doctor's Blast, and even like Holy Lance is just really valuable. It looks like you have frontline stunning already with Stunning Blow, but reasonably you are not going to be pressing Stunning Blow, because obviously Crusader wants to be in rank 3, he most likely starts there because Grave Robber outspeeds very often, and you just do Holy Lance, so you don't really get that frontline stun from Stunning Blow. So the last slot really wants to be a frontline stunner, which there's basically just 2 of them that are like really, really good with this team, because you have either like Mad Arms, because Rampart is really good. It gives like additional dance synergy as well, because you just kind of go like Rampart and you can go like Lunge, and just kind of like dance all over the place, because you go like this, you go like this, turn 2 you Lunge again, the team looks like this. Most likely Mad Arms outspeeds Crusader. If it doesn't really matter. You can go Rampart, Holy Lance, you just reset Lunge, you just get to Infinite Lunge, which is really valuable as well. Just extremely, extremely good. Just very well fitting, they fit very well together. And obviously Rampart, really good frontline stun. Its issue of like not being able to stun rank 3 really doesn't matter that much, because you already have PD doing that. Then otherwise you have like good utility from Bellow. You get extra defenses on like your relatively fragile backline of Grave Robber and PD when like when their dodge stops working. Like especially on Grave Robber, she does have like the 30 base dodge, and if she crits, she just gets even more. And most of her good trinkets do give her dodge. But having that extra like defense from guard is very valuable, just to make sure that like if you start getting into trouble, you just press defender, and amazing. And it's also like a good pick for like certain regions like Wield. This team isn't the best into Wield because it's relying on like a lot of like on-hit damage. Its matchup into prot isn't exactly great, especially because PD isn't like as reliable as an answer to Wield, because it does have a high blight resist. You can obviously get around that with like Last Misfire plus like her Ash Installation from the Call of Madness, for like an insane amount of blight skill chance that obviously works, but you really want to have like the extra speed on her, so kind of like not that great. Against Giant, of course, you have Defender, which allows you to stall infinitely. You get Inspiring Cry, and you just like out-heal Giant, because you just have that 80% prot on Man at Arms, which is really, really good, right? The other option you could bring here is obviously Occultist. Occultist is just great with this team as well. A much faster stun. You lose a bit of defense compared to Man at Arms, because of course you don't get that guard. But you do have like a much stronger stun that's also much more flexible. You can stun rank 3 with this, which allows PD to like focus more on damage sometimes. It's obviously like a higher percentage stun most of the time. unless you have like Rampart Shield plus like his like Crimson Core Trinket, then you have like double stun trinkets on Mad Arms, and then it does outscale Handsome Abyss with just Demon's Cauldron. But you can obviously run like Vial of Sand, then you can just get up to like the highest percentage of stun in the game, which is really, really strong, obviously. Again, the utility here is kind of good. Weakening Curse is really valuable. It just like allows like Crusader and Grave Robber with Lunge to just deal much more damage to like enemies that do have prot, like against Ghoul. If you have like stunned already with like PD Cleave or something, you can just go like Weakening Curse and just like delete him with like Lunge plus Holy Lance. You also do have Mark's Energy. This is something that a lot of people tend to forget, but Throne Dagger does have Mark's Energy, so you can make use of that to get like a bit of backline damage with that as well, which can be quite valuable. Sack Stab is just fine, just good utility. Even more healing as well, which allows Crusader to focus even more on just like not having to press battle heal as much. You could even like completely unequip it, just like spam Inspiring Cry more often for like more stress healing. You do this healing if you just don't have battle heal equipped, and if you don't press battle heal too much, then it's like and Inspiring Cry really wants to be pressed very often because it's so good. Especially because of all the stress healing, and then like reconstruction plus PD heal very often is just very consistent. You also don't have to like worry about the bleed basically, because he's immune, she's 5%, she's immune, so you just don't care at max level. Really, really good. Just very flexible team. There's another option you can technically pick that I wouldn't recommend as a frontline stun, which is Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter on 1 is very rough. Just because you don't get Flashbang, and Flashbang obviously doesn't have like the greatest synergy here. Uppercut as well, it's just kind of like he doesn't have like any Mark synergy that he can support that much, and he really needs that, because otherwise like his utility is kind of like The pull can be okay, but most of the time you just delete the back line immediately. His damage also isn't that needed because you already have these two plus PD, so you already have like 3 people that can carry damage, and then you just add like a 4th, and it's like do you really need like 4 people doing damage? I would prefer like more utility. And obviously Bounty Hunter really wants to be like able to flashbang, so someone like Mad Arms or Occultist just kind of does more, because Occultist just has a high percentage stun. Same with Mad Arms if you have Rampart Shield. And Mad Arms has that extra like defensive utility with Defender, and even Bellow can be useful. And then Occultist obviously offers like his entire utility kit and just a much, much higher percentage stun. And like another heal, which essentially serves as defense. It isn't as good as like Mad Arms. Defender obviously for like pure defensive purposes, but it is still very good. And you just kind of like stun like whatever like threatens you, because sensitive is silly like that. But yeah, that would be like how I build teams. If you have like any like specific questions of like, if you want me to like go through like another example team with like a specific hero, I can do that for you in the comments. If you just leave a comment and be like, hey, I want to like build around like Occultist or something, and I have like this roster, just leave a comment, I'll answer to that. You can even like join my Discord and ask me there, because I'm always down to yap about Darkest Dungeon. You can comment to my stream on Twitch, smile, #ad, and just yap about Darkest Dungeon there. I'm always happy to just talk about what I think about things. You could just ask like, how would you build a team around this specific playstyle with a specific hero, and that's the benefit of stream, so you just get that immediate feedback. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Hope you know like a bit more about team building. I hope like my explanations were fine. I never know how to like explain team building, because it's so like situation dependent or like roster dependent. But I hope like just like showing a bit of how I go through the process is probably just a good idea. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good rest of your day. Smile.